Thank you for joining us for this World Council of Credit Unions COVID-19 Response Committee webinar, The Impact of a Shared Digital Vision and Platform, a tour through credit union systems in Brazil, Poland, and South Korea. My name is Greg Newman, Director of Communications for World Council. We have a great agenda today, including presentations on creating a shared digital platform for credit unions in Brazil. That is by João Tavares. He is the Executive Director of Sicredi. Sicredi is the largest credit union system in Brazil. Then we'll have a presentation on bringing digital services to Polish credit unions by Pawel, coordinator for the Regional Credit Union Center in Eastern and Central Europe. And finally, establishing IT for a digital credit union platform, Choongsun Daniel IT Service Support Manager for the National Credit Union Federation of Korea. If you have any questions for our speakers, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen and type them in there. I will ask those questions to the speakers at the end of their presentations. We are planning to provide Spanish interpretation services for today's webinar. We are still waiting for our interpreter. Brian Branch, if you're on the line with us, could you please let the folks who are joining us from Latin America know that we are still waiting on our interpreter?
Thanks, Greg. Amigos, estamos esperando que llegue el traductor para facilitar la traducción en español. Estamos esperando que el traductor esté con nosotros dentro de unos momentos. Gracias. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Brian. And once that interpreter does arrive, you'll see that on the bottom of your screen, there is an interpreter button that you can click and find Spanish. Also, today's webinar is being recorded and it's going to be available later today on the World Council YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/WOCCU. Right now, I'd like to turn it over to the World Council Board Director, Young-Sik Kim. He is also the chair of our COVID-19 Response Committee, and he's the CEO of the National Credit Union Federation of Korea. He has a few introductory comments for us today. Mr. Kim.
Hello, everyone. I hope that everyone is doing well. I am Kim Yoon-sik, President of WOCCU from Korea and also Chair of the COVID-19 Response Committee of the World Council. With almost 2 months into the new year, the COVID pandemic still continues to pose a grave threat to our health and daily lives. Vaccination has started in some countries and the pandemic will eventually end someday. But the post-pandemic world will dramatically be different from the one we know. So I believe now it is a good time to muster our wisdom to find out the way forward for the future of our credit union. In that regard, I hope today's webinar on digital transformation will help you in the journey toward the future. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Brian and Greg from the World Council to put together today's webinar. And also, I would like to thank Rafael, President of World Council, and Manfred from the Sicredi. And also, my appreciation goes to Pawel, João, and Daniel for gladly taking the invitation to deliver presentation at today's webinar. I sincerely hope that you will continue to stay healthy and safe, and that the pandemic situation will improve soon. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Chairman Kim. We appreciate your time and your leadership on this committee. Our first presentation today is from João Tavares. He has served as the CEO of Sicredi since 2017. Prior to assuming that office, he also served as Sicredi's Chief Financial Officer, its Director of Planning and Administration, and its Corporate Finance Manager. Mr. Tavares also serves as Vice President of the Sicredi Foundation, a role he's held since 2015. He holds a Master's in Business Administration from the Federal University of the Rio Grande do Sul. Mr. Tavares joins us today to speak about Sicredi's development and implementation of its digital shared platform. Mr. Tavares.
Hello, good morning. I'd like to thank you, Greg, thank you everybody in WOCCU for this opportunity to share our experience here in Brazil and to talk a little bit how we use digital and digitalization to help our members on facing this pandemics and to keep the economic activities running. I will share my screen here. Okay, well, let's start talking a little bit about Sicredi. It's important to say that Sicredi is, in fact, is a system. It's a system formed by 108 credit cooperatives with more than 2,000 branches, 2,000 service stations, with almost 5 million members and 30,000 employees, the biggest system in Brazil. And it's important to say that during the pandemics, we opened more 150 new branches. We were still running besides the pandemics. And it's important to emphasize that, well, here we have the size of Sicredi, 155 billion in total assets. It's something like $30 billion, US dollars. And I would like to emphasize that during the pandemics, the Sicredi numbers and the cooperative numbers increased more than the other financial institutions in Brazil, while the financial institutions increased almost 20% the assets. The cooperatives increased almost 30%. In the case of Sicredi, we increased 40% during 2020. It's important to emphasize this because it's a clear signal that the community, the society is understand our proposal, our focus on helping people to keep evolving, and believe that we can help the communities to keep the economics running. It was a very important year for us. And to make everything works in Sicredi, we are organized in a system. We have the members, we have the credit unions, the cooperatives, the branches, the regional centrals, and then the right side of the screen, we have what you call Centro Administrativo Sicredi, or like a shared service center of Sicredi. Here in the shared service center, we run all IT programs, all operations. All the credit cooperatives use the same systems. All the members use the same internet bank, the same mobile apps, the same digital platform. That's why it's feasible to the credit cooperatives use such technologies that could be very expensive if someone tried to do that alone. That's why we can use artificial intelligence, for example, or serving our members using WhatsApp, because we run everything centralized. It's very important to make possible to accelerate and to extend our credit cooperatives the services that could be impossible to run alone. During the pandemics, the first challenge we face is to make possible to our employees, our associates, to keep working at home. Just in just 1 week, we transferred almost 30,000 people from the branches and from the offices to home office. It was a challenge in terms of IT because we needed to change our platforms, the way the people access our systems, and we run it in just 1 week. It was a wartime, I think so. And the second step, well, here we have something regarding the numbers. And at the same time, we increase the possibilities, the characteristics of our mobile solutions. We increased a lot the solutions we have in the mobile app and the internet banking. Then the people, the members could use the cooperative without going to a physical branch. We have to change our model in just 1 week or 2 weeks, and the use of our mobile channels increased 40% in the first months of the pandemics. It was a great effort that we need to use new technologies and new ways to doing that. We need to change our ways of call centers. We have an integrated call center, and we started using other technologies to help our members to serve, to help our members to understand how to use the products, how to use the services, how to access the internet banking. And to do that, we use what you call Tel, is our artificial intelligence robot to help people on using WhatsApp. Then if I have a question about a product or a process, I can use my WhatsApp to access the information to be served without using just an employee in the other side of the line. We do that not to change our business, because our business is to be linked with the people, but because we understand that the environment has changed a lot in just a few days. And the people here in Brazil was very confused how to deal with the financial institutions, how to run your business. Then we tried to keep simple and to start helping people to understand and to keep the economic activities. And the other challenge we face is to ensure the access to our members to the programs, economic programs that the Brazilian government started during the pandemics. To help people, the Brazilian government started 3 or 4 programs focused on keep small companies and medium companies to keep the employees, to keep the jobs. And Sicredi was one of the first financial institutions that extended to the members the access for this kind of lines and this kind of programs. And this increased a lot our presence, our importance in the medium and the small companies markets. We increased a lot the numbers of members in the SME markets.
Buenos días a todos. Disculpe el inconveniente con la traducción. Soy Tomás Belekevich del Consejo Mundial y voy a poder ahora asistirles. Disculpe el inconveniente.
But to do that, as I said in the beginning, we have in the
Para
caso
hacerlo, como mencioné al principio,
okay, must I wait for the translator or can I go? Yeah. Well, to do that, to make this possible, we use our shared service center that we call CAS when I work. There we have the confederation, the bank, and the other specialized companies that make possible to run the technology, the products, the back office procedures, and to help the members and the credit cooperatives. In the Sicredi, a credit cooperative is not in charge of running the back office procedures or to building technology solutions. We do that for them. We run the mobile, the internet banking, and everything they need to to serve their members. Then the member can use the branch, the internet bank, the mobile, or the ATMs as they want. Well, you can ask if we are local or national, we are near or we are far from our members, but in fact, we are national and local. Besides, we use a lot of technology, digitalization. We do that to keep near of our members and to keep near of the economic activities inside the community. Our goal, using too much technology is to reduce the costs and to keep the people of the staff of the branch linked and working together with the members. It was possible to face the pandemics and to keep the business growing. Then for us, the digital transformation is a case of is a mix of organizational culture. We need to think digital. We need to think very, very lean, very fast, because the market is changing a lot, and the pandemics accelerate the transformation. But it's not a digital or IT transformation, but in fact, it's a case of culture. We need to be digital, but keep our roots, and we keep our culture in terms of cooperativism. We need to transform our process. It's more important to transform that process than just digitalize the process. That's why we are rethinking our process. And then the last, we have digital solutions. We need to use everything the digital world can bring to us to make easier the life of our branch and our members. And this movement was accelerated during the pandemics. We started this journey in 2017, and I don't know when we finish because everything changed every day. Well, some examples of our digital presence, I said, the internet banking, the Sicredi app, the use of WhatsApp to make a business and to serve our members. And we have two special initiatives during 2020. The first one we call Economia Local. I cooperate with the local economy. It's a program that we help the members to use the local small companies, local markets, and we extend to our members a marketplace we call Conecta. No fees, no charge, and the members could use the Conecta to sell these products, the products and services to other members using the marketplace. It was very important action during 2020. And the last one, we have the WOCCU Sicredi, is a new digital platform that help the young people to approach to cooperativism. It has another language. We keep the cooperativism roots, but with another language, and the member can open an account, can associate using the digital platform. It's a new kind of interaction with these people, this part of market that focus on digital relationship. Let's resume our vision. We have the cooperativism is our base. We have the system. Without a system, it was impossible to keep running in Brazil market because it's very expensive to run a financial institution in Brazil. That's why you are organized in the system. And we use all digital characteristics to keep our business increasing without increasing the costs in the same pace. Well, to conclude, our systemic strength is directed towards bringing impactful solutions. Besides, we are a big system with lots of cooperatives, lots of branches. Our strategy is to keep local, to keep linked with local economies, and you use the digital transformation to do that better. Okay, guys, thank you. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, João. And we're always blown away here at World Council at the progress of digitization that Sicredi is making. We do have one comment, one question, I should say, from Bruno. He asks, what are the challenges that you see in Sicredi regarding the all documentation and the compliance level needed to enable a credit process? Is there a bureaucracy problem?
Yes, we face that. But when we started our digital transformation, we realized that the most impressive, the biggest part of bureaucracy problem was raised inside the company, not with the central bank, for example. The people is addicted to paper. And when we review our process, we discover some kind of documents that was not necessary or it was not used by nobody. And we cut this kind of documents, and we start using new technologies to avoid problems. For example, falsifications or something like that. And nowadays, our digital process is safer than our physical process. We have less frauds in our digital process. It's true that in Brazil, the central bank is very open to discuss new technologies, new ways of doing business. In some specific business, like rural credit, we have a lot of bureaucracy, and but we are discussing with the central bank how to reduce the bureaucracy. As I said before, it's a journey, but we need to keep the eye inside our house, because sometimes we think that the bureaucracy born outside the company, but in fact the company sometimes creates some walls, bureaucratic walls.
Thank you very much, João. Great presentation. Thanks for answering that question. And we're going to move on to our next speaker, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Up next is Pawel Pelc. He is the coordinator for the Regional Credit Union Center, which was set up by World Council and our direct member in Poland, the National Association of Cooperative Savings and Credit Unions, or WOCCU. They serve as the main source of expertise in the development and management of cooperative financial institutions serving the communities of Eastern and Central Europe. He's a financial attorney with experience working for the National Bank of Poland and representing a range of financial institutions through his own practice for more than a decade. Mr. Pelc now also leads the Regional Credit Union Center's efforts. He's talking today about how WOCCU is working to bring digital services to Polish credit unions. Pawel.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be today with all of you from so many different countries and legal system in which credit unions have opportunity to operate. As Greg introduced me, my name is Pawel Pelc, and I'm an attorney at law. My duties are related also to Regional Credit Union Center, in which I'm a coordinator. I'm going to present you issues related to digitalization of the credit union system in Poland. As we all see, digitalization is nowadays really important in all aspects. It was very nice visible in the Brazilian presentation as well. And it includes also financial services. The importance of it is additionally stressed by the present COVID-19 crisis. But before I go to the digitalization, I would like to start with some data related to Polish system, as probably some of you do not have more detailed knowledge of that system. So in Poland, we do have 23 credit unions nowadays. The number of members is close to 1.5 million. Number of branches more than 700. Assets more than 2.5 million US. Deposits close to 2.4 million US. Loans to members more than 1.7 million US dollars. Down funds are equal to 125 million US dollars, and solvency ratio is 5.16 when the law requires 5%. So on average, it's above this level. Also, last year, there was positive yearly results in the system, even though there was COVID-19 crisis developing, and in Poland we experience extremely low interest rates, which we were not used to, and even though we were able to generate positive results. Polish credit union system model can offer services only to the members of credit unions. To become a member of the credit union, there should be a bond existing before obtaining membership in the credit union. And in the most part of the system, this bond is based on membership in the Financial Education Association, as one of the possibilities in the law is to be a member of the same organization. There are also credit unions in which bond between members is based on their employment in the same company or group of companies. So due to that, we have different structures in different credit unions, as well as various localization of branches. Regardless the size of the credit union, all shall use the same standard procedures and documentation due to mandatory membership of all credit unions in WOCCU, which is responsible also for the standardization of the services within the system. Credit unions in Poland can offer to their member basic financial services. Those services are not as complicated as in case of banks, but in the everyday life there are it's quite enough. So in the credit unions portfolio of services, there are accounts for the members, term deposit, payment services, and credits as main part of our activity. Credit union members can also use payment cards due to services offered to them by WOCCU through credit unions. Credit unions also can be insurance and investment funds intermediaries for their members. And they can offer in this area, of course, products developed and offered by different entities. To facilitate such functions, credit unions are able to offer their members internet and mobile banking services as tool to improve access of members to credit unions services. As I mentioned in one of the previous slides, there is more than 700 branches around the country. In Poland, we have about 38 million of inhabitants. Those branches structure was developed for a long time, so often they are situated in quite good locations within the cities or villages. Credit unions also are taking care of keeping them modern, like you see on the picture on the slide. Additionally, the restructurization process implemented by credit unions in the last few years allowed them to resign from less attractive locations. Also, in case of mergers, it was also opportunity to choose the best localization, the best branches, the most effective. As I mentioned earlier, National Association of Cooperative Savings and Credit Unions is crucial part of the credit union system in Poland. All credit unions are mandatory members in the association. Similarly to credit unions, also National Association has a form of cooperative. The main goal of the National Association is to ensure financial stability of credit unions. So the stabilization is the basic function. To achieve this goal, association manages stabilization fund financed partially from the association profits and partially from contributions from credit unions input in relation to the size of assets. Even though that credit unions are supervised by financial supervisory authorities since 2012, National Association still has power to control credit unions and also to implement cooperative illustration in the credit unions. Association also is entitled to issue standards for credit unions, and association also works as intermediary in payment services and issues payment cards for credit union members, as I mentioned earlier. As you can see on this slide, the digitalization vision looks to be quite simple. There shall be a common personal account and multi-currency card available for every member of the credit union with easy access to various payment channels, including internet and mobile payment services available in Poland, like you can see on the slide, PayU, Przelewy 24, and GPay or BLIK. The main offsite service channels shall be internet banking and mobile application with sufficient functionality as presented on the right side of the slide. Those channels shall also allow members to access digital identity in the form of a trusted profile, which is in Poland available mostly through banks. We would like that our activity was harmless to our environment, and due to that our multi-currency Visa card is based on Corn-Binds technology. In this vision, there is important role for association as payment card issuer and intermediary in payment system. There are no direct agreements between separate credit unions and National Bank of Poland or National Clearing Chamber. So as you can see on this slide, based on the agreement signed by National Association of Cooperative Savings and Credit Unions have access to payment or through National Clearing Chamber or through National Bank of Poland, our central bank. Also, exchange of data related to credit history can be implemented by the credit unions from Credit Information Bureau, also due to agreements signed by WOCCU with the Bureau. And as I've pointed earlier, payment cards for credit unions members are issued by National Association based on agreement with Visa. Such legal arrangement allow to treat credit unions as one structure from our organizational perspective, even though credit unions as cooperatives are separate legal entities. As I presented in previous slides, most of the National Association functions are defined in the law. It's quite strict written what WOCCU can do, what cannot. Majority of those functions and services is based on agreements signed between WOCCU and credit unions. After amendments in the law dated from 2013, the draft standard agreements shall be accepted by the National Supervisory Authority to avoid different treatment of separate credit unions. There is quite interesting regulations related to payments and credit cards. National Association is obliged by the law to offer such services to credit unions as intermediary, but credit unions are not obliged to use National Association as intermediary and can use other intermediaries available on the market. Also, as I've explained earlier, WOCCU is responsible for drafting standards of services and documentation, as well as standards for credit unions' IT system. But National Association is not responsible for development of such IT system in line with those standards, as you can see on that slide. Due to the fact that National Association is not responsible for development of the credit union's IT system, there is a company ready to offer such a system within the credit union system applet. And this company develops software matching the ongoing development of the credit unions, and core of that system is SCOCOM, which is used by most of them. For internet banking, there is SCOCOM. For mobile banking and SCOC, there are other common services offered by applet. So that are those services presented in the slide. They are quite useful for the credit unions. And what are the advantages for them for using this common services? Unification of digital tools and services, digital and technological solidarity, lower purchase and services cost, and full access to the digital technology for small credit unions, as you can see those points in the slide. The market and especially regulatory environment changes in Poland very fast and often with very limited time for adaptation. So it is extremely difficult to adapt the IT system for that. So without one system providers, it would be very difficult, and small credit unions wouldn't be able to pay for such frequent amendments and changes to the system. And what are the main goals of National Association of Credit Savings and Credit Unions in Poland for the years 2020 and 2022? This strategy shall lead to revitalization of the idea of credit unions for the people in Poland. The key is ability to offer members simple and clear financial services, and for that shall be digitalization and development of electronic services. And part of this thinking is redefinition of the function of the National Association to better and more fully meet the expectations addressed to it by the cooperative savings and credit unions. Our development shall be sustainable, and digitization shall help us in that. So thank you very much for ability to give you presentation about Polish system. And if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Pawel. And for those who are joining us today, the RCUC, the Regional Credit Union Center, helps World Council promote things like digitization throughout Eastern and Central Europe. And there are a lot of credit union systems, particularly in Eastern Europe and Central Europe, still that lack digital services. So Pawel and his team are doing what they can to kind of spread that word and grow digitization there as part of our Challenge 2025 project. So that's going to bring us to our last speaker of the day. I do know there are some questions in queue, but we are running a little short on time. So we're going to move on to our next presenter. Last presenter of the day joins us from South Korea. Choongsun Daniel is the IT Service Support Manager for the National Credit Union Federation of Korea. And he is speaking today about establishing the IT infrastructure for that system's digital credit union platform. Choongsun.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you during this webinar. I am Choongsun. I am working as an IT service manager at the WOCCU. I am very glad to take this opportunity to deliver a presentation on the digital transformation in Korea. So let me start my presentation on the Korean Credit Union IT system supporting digital transformation of a credit union. And this is the table of the content for my presentation. And the first chapter is about introducing WOCCU IT system. And this is the organizational chart of WOCCU, and you can see that some boxes are related to IT, and there is a 71 in the IT management and the development, and in the information protection there are 9 people, and the IT management and the development bureau, and under there is a IT development division and the IT planning and the management team, and there is also crisis response and the disaster recovery center. And the infrastructure team operate the control center for the 24/7 monitoring and the surveillance, and the IT protection is in charge of security measures, and the control center and the security operation is being outsourced. And this is the current status of IT system in the WOCCU. And there are 878 credit unions in the Korea, and 98% of them are having the next generation system. That means the core banking system. And their GL is centrally managed at the WOCCU. Only 8 are using a standard system, and just a part of their general ledger is centrally managed at the WOCCU. And the 6 credit unions have in-house IT systems and the programs. And under you can find the status of the account and the number of transactions and the storage capacity, and the number of credit unions are converted to next generation. Since 2008, the general ledger of credit unions have been centrally managed, but there are still some which manage the general ledger on their own. They are based on the employment, and because of the cost and the compatibility of the computer system with the mother company, they haven't converted it to the centrally managed general ledger system yet. And this is the IT center network diagram. And you can see the data center and the disaster recovery center. And you can also find the unmanned branch. And we have the private network and the backup network, and there is securities. And we also have a UTM, and this works for the firewall, and those attack blocking and the intrusion detection prevention and the harmful site blocking are all done. And this is IT center information which is located in the Daejeon city. And the whole first floor is used for IT center, and the space of the third floor is also used for the IT center. And also this building is earthquake resistant by design. And this table shows IT center infrastructure information. And I will go to the last page of this topic. We have an emergency generator, which is located in the basement. It can produce the 1,000 kilowatt power. And the emergency oil tank can operate the system for 6 to 7 hours without power supply from outside. And we also have a UPS system, and it can supply power for 30 minutes. And the IT system is quite sensitive to humidity. So we have a constant temperature and the humidity unit, as well as fire extinguishing equipment is installed in the building. And this table shows the information regarding disaster recovery center. And we are renting some space of the integrated data center built by a telecom company, LGU Plus. And in that space, we have a server network and the storage. And I think I should skip the next slide about the power supply. So next chapter is about the vision of digitalization for Korean credit unions. And the vision, the first one is to create the people-centric digital human credit union to enhance the CU membership value and to support the sustained improvement in the credit union business performance. So one of the goals is to reduce the gap with the advanced financial institution, and the other part is to have unique characteristics as credit unions as part of the cooperative structure. So this is the strategy that we have to achieve the goal. The first one is just setting the clear goal. And the second is responding to the changes in the digital environments. And so responding to the changes in the digital environment, such as open banking and the Three Data Act, and to reduce the gap with the advanced financial institutions. And the last one is focusing on the credit union identity, focusing on the community-based, cooperative, and member-centered. And the next one is better compliance as a response. And we are aiming to have enhanced the anti-money laundering system and the better compliance with the CRS. And the next one is a continuous improvement based on the business innovation. And let me now explain the key functions, the available back office support and the payment system in Korea. The data centered at the WOCCU can be utilized and can be used to provide the CSS, BSS, CRS, and with a credit scoring system, behavior scoring system, and the corporate rating system. And this system can be utilized to prevent the default risk. And various statistics and the reporting and the financial, the income, the materials can be created by using this data and submitted to the National Tax Office. And the financial asset and the 24/7 monitoring and the risk management system is another the back office that help the decision maker to make a decision. So it's a the credit unions can be more easy to create the documents. Let me now explain about the payment system. So WOCCU, on behalf of the credit unions, place and conduct the payment transactions through KFTC. And the credit unions, like other financial institutions, are participating in the KFTC network and can make a transaction of money between credit unions and with other external financial institutions. And at the end of the business day and the next day of the business transaction, and this data is sent to BOK. And the settlement is reflected through the current account held by BOK on the next day of the transaction. And for the fund settlement, NAFCO plays the BOK role for the credit union as well as the KFTC. Now I will explain the requirement to use a NAFCO-based platform, and I will talk about required infrastructure policies, interdependency, and dependency. In order to use the NAFCO-based platform, the credit unions should have the following requirements. And for the infrastructure, they need to have a line installed, 2 dedicated lines, and 1 VPN, and the minimum 2 banking terminals is required as well. And another requirement for the infrastructure is the installation of the various security programs. So DLP, NAC, and the vaccine programs should be installed. And the security program installation is monitored by NAFCO, and if it is not installed, then they cannot access the NAFCO service and the network. And the next one is the network separation between the banking terminal and the internet terminal. And it is automatically controlled as well. And let me now talk about policies. And the credit unions should pay IT fund contribution, and it is set as a capital budget. And also, depending on the installed branches and the transaction volume, the credit unions also pay the network service charge. Let me now talk about the interdependency and the dependency. Credit unions can choose the services provided by NAFCO, and also different requirements may apply depending on the circumstances of the credit unions. Linked platform offers credit union and NAFCO the opportunity for the business consignment and interestment. So one of the example is the mutual aid. So now I will talk about the services provided by NAFCO-based platform. And this is the system network on the left side. And you can see the multiple channels, including internet banking, telebanking, bank terminal, mobile banking, and the mobile branch, and which the channels that the members can use. And in the center, you can find the ITP center, and they provide various additional functions and the features, and so it is most better and more cost effective compared to IP telephone. And the NAFCO provides the intermediary role and provide services for the credit union and the link to the 42 external services, external institutions. And the last one is the benefit that credit unions can have by using NAFCO IT systems. From the system perspective, credit unions can use the core banking system and the integrated information system and the database system. From the data perspective, as I mentioned earlier, all the general ledger is centrally managed at the NAFCO, and it's possible to have transactions between credit unions and with the external institutions, and it's easier to collect data, and that collected aggregated data can be used for the marketing purposes. And for the operational manager perspective, the centrally managed general ledger can improve the operational efficiency, and with the disaster recovery center, the credit unions can be free from the managing the IT system on their own. And this is the before and the after comparison slide, and the business profitability increases. And since all the accounts are managed centrally at NAFCO, it means the business profitability increases. And the next one is business convenience. The credit unions can be free from the IT system management, so they can focus on the other jobs. And the business efficiency, so analysis and statistics can be better managed by centrally by NAFCO, and the image management were not supported before, but now it can be managed, and it improve the business efficiency. Then about the IT equipment, and the credit unions don't need to purchase and maintain the machines and the servers. And also, they don't need to have a dummy terminals to access the system. And in the last chapter, I would like to talk about the digital vision and the strategy, and how they are affecting on the credit union. And the first one is about the providing user-oriented digital services, and the on-bank app and the internet banking can improve the user's experiences, and it can be utilized to provide better services. And the second one is that the competitive remote service structure can be established. And the third one is RPA, and the electronic administrative documentation can be issued that improves the convenience and the efficiency. And the second one is about the credit union, the specific digital business model can be established, and with the proactive member management and strong support for small businesses, can be possible with the better IT systems, and this will help the credit unions and members can have a win-win relationship, and it also allows the introduction of loyalty program. And the next one is that it helps the credit unions to better respond to my data business and the data warehouse building, and introduce a CRM system and the other digital services and the solutions. And third one is about supporting and promoting sustainable growth engines with the on-bank app, marketing, and the marketing to increase the number of internet banking can be utilized. And the second one is the more various the deposit products that meet the needs of members can be developed. And the third one is buyer authentication, and the tablet branch can be used and utilized for the marketing strategies. And the next one is about implementing stable operation system for the savings and the deposit. AML and the can be strengthened. And the second one is that for the reporting of the financial authority, it makes a better compliance with the regulations. And the third one is that with the more remote services and business processes, it can help improve the business capabilities. And this concludes the IT system introduction in the NAFCO. And if you have any questions, I would like to take your questions.
Thank you so much, Choongsun. Unfortunately, we are running very late on time now. We're about 9 minutes over the hour. So if people do have questions, and I know there are a lot of questions out there, we can get them to the presenters via email. So we're going to try to do that for you. And the one thing I want to say to the presenters is thank you so much. It was a really comprehensive look at these different digital and shared platforms. We had a lot of good feedback, excuse me, in our comments section. So a very enlightening webinar for everyone. And if you want to review this webinar again, or if you want to let your colleagues know that it's something they should view, it's going to be available in its entirety later today on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/WOCCU. So we'll let everyone return to their work days or their evenings. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.